happy, sad, excited, angry, confused, scared, and love are just few moods we experience on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people struggle to put their feelings into words while speaking in English. It is just so difficult to find the right word when you are overwhelmed with emotions. So this lesson is to help you to overcome that problem. I'm going to take each of those emotional states and help you with how to describe your current state of mind in English. Before we begin, write down your current state of mind in the comment box below. Let's start with our first mood, happy. Which phrase or word would you use to express extreme happiness? Instead of saying, I am very happy, you can say, I am on cloud 9. You can use this idiom when you want to talk about something that made you really happy. For example, I was on cloud 9 when I got my first job. Another idiom that you can use in this situation is on top of the world. For example, I was on top of the world when I was gifted an iPhone on my birthday. Another idiom that you can also use is, it was the best feeling in the world. Moving on to our second emotion, sadness. Do you know the color blue is associated with the emotion sadness? For example, if someone is sad, you can ask, what happened? Why so blue? What can I do to cheer you up? Or last weekend, I was feeling blue for no reason, but then I had a word with my friend and it was all good again. Sometimes we just need human interaction. Another idiom that you can also use is down in the dumps. For example, I like to talk to my parents whenever I feel down in the dump. To express sadness, you can also use the words like miserable or dejected. Moving on to our next emotion, anger. How would you express your emotions when you're angry or when someone else is angry? You can use the phrase, she is mad at me or I am mad at her. For example, my mother gets really mad whenever I mess up the room. Another idiom that you can also use is makes my blood boil. For example, my blood boils looking at the amount of pollution in the city. Do you know what do we call that person who is always angry? Well, the right word is grumpy. Now tell me, which phrase or word would you use to express confusion? For example, you were talking about a past situation where you were confused. So you can say, back when I started college, I was all mixed up. But soon it all started making sense and it seems like I made the right choice. Or earlier in school, I used to get all mixed up seeing the chemical equations. Another idiom that you can also use is, it's all Greek to me. For example, although my colleague tried her best to explain the technical issue, it was all Greek to me. Another word that you can also use is baffled. For example, I was completely baffled looking at my friend's strange behavior. Now let's look at the emotion of annoyance. If you are extremely annoyed with someone, you can use the phrase getting on my nerves. For example, his bad behavior is getting on my nerves now. Or you can also use the phrase can't stand. For example, I can't stand his bad behavior. Or if someone is annoying you by continuously criticizing you, you can use the phrase get off my back. For example, can you please get off my back? You have been finding faults all day long. Or if someone is saying something offensive or annoying, you can say cut it out. For example, I am tired of listening to you. Can you cut it out? So these were the phrases that you can use if someone is annoyed with you or when you are annoyed with someone. Now let's move on to our next emotion, the emotion of love. One of my favorite idioms to express love is head over heels, which means to be in love with someone. For example, I was head over heels looking at his polite and kind behavior. Another idiom that you can also use is I adore you. For example, I adore my friend for her generosity. Moving on to our final emotion, scared. After watching a super horror movie, how do you feel? Scared? You can use the idiom I jumped out of my skin. For example, While watching the horror movie, I nearly jumped out of my skin. Or you can also use the idiom, I was scared to death. For example, I was scared to death when I realized I did not save the files that I had been working on. And I think that's even scarier as compared to a horror movie, right? So these were some phrases or idioms that you can use to express different moods in any conversation. And now it's time for your assignment. How can you say I am happy without using the word happy? Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you have learned something new today, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. I will see you in my next video. Till then, take care and happy learning.
Ingvarta, your English practice playground. No judgment, only motivation and constructive feedback. Join today.